Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. This week has been like a NIO week for us. We're visiting Norway, of course, and we've already made a video on the ET7 on the battery swap station. We visited the NIO house, and you guys seem to love NIO. As I'm really interested, I'm really intrigued by the whole thing. So I figured to do the battery swap station, we snagged an ES8 from the NIO team here to come and film that video. But I thought maybe I should share my impressions on NIO's SUV. It came out years earlier than the ET7, which was sort of that Model S competitor sedan. I made a whole video about that really impressive car. But I thought today, let me take you for a ride in the ES8. It's a car I don't know much about, but you know, a lot of you guys are excited about it. I think this would do really well in America. And let's go for a ride in the NIO ES8 for the first time. This is the NIO ES8. No front trunk here, so starting off on a negative. Charging ports on the other side. Can AC charge at 11 kilowatts, I believe, or DC charge at about 100-ish. Doesn't have the fastest DC charging because most Chinese cars don't. You have a 75, 100 kilowatt hour or a 150 kilowatt hour pack. So 3 battery packs to choose from. The 150 kilowatt hour semi-solid state situation isn't yet available. But if you remember from our sedan review, if you watch that, those are the same 3 battery pack options as the sedan. There's also going to be the ET5, which is a smaller sedan with the same 3 battery pack options. I guess you can understand why that's the case. The battery swap stations probably, my guess, have to handle the same form factor to swap everything in and out of different cars. And that's an interesting idea. What I'm curious to see is, by them sticking to this form factor for battery swap, is it going to limit what they can do in terms of maximum battery capacity? It doesn't sound like it. 150 kilowatt hours is quite a bit. But is it going to limit innovation in vehicle design and engineering? I don't know. They have to design all their future product around this battery pack architecture until these can be upgraded to handle a different size battery. That seems like a limitation to me. But anyway, come along. So dual motors on this one, of course, rolling on Nokian Hakkapeliitta winter tires. Big thanks to Nokian for being a big out of spec supporter. We appreciate you guys. And apparently NIO loves them too, because they had these things on the showroom in the NIO house on Nokian tires, which was great. So it's a large SUV. That means I need to show you the back of it. Really good looking car, I think. Love the color. This one is a Norwegian Pioneer edition, which means it was one of the first ones to come to Norway. It's been used. It's a 3-row, of course. It's a 7-seater, so you have your 2 seats here in the back. If you want to fold it, you pull this tab, and then you get a pretty good fold. Look at this material over here. What is going on with this? Now, I do have to note, this is a press car. This is, you know, they loaned it to us for videos. Wasn't clean or anything, which is totally fine because we did this 100% last minute. This car, just in my impression, feels older. A lot older than the ET7. It seems like this could use a mid-cycle refresh, right, to match that ET7 we drove. You know, just in terms of switchgear, materials, you can definitely tell that NIO very rapidly as a company found better suppliers for materials. It's not bad in here at all. Price is about 600,000 krona. It's like 60,000 US roughly, so less than e-tron. At least here it's less than e-tron. So it's a good, I would say, good price 3-row SUV with battery swap, with driver assistance, with NOMI integration. But I think they really need to update it. It's starting to feel a little bit old. Let me test the back seat room really quick. So these door handles, again, different from ET7. Jumping in the back. Wow, big room in the back. And that's always a thing for Chinese cars. Quite a high floor because you have to accommodate the battery pack. Nice glass roof. I can recline a little bit, okay. Yeah, but you know what's weird? Look how low the back seat is. And this might be for folding, but I don't feel like I really get that much head and shoulder support as much as I should. That's interesting, but they are sculpted a little bit back here as well. Seemingly a nice back seat. Big door cup holders. Look, we got 3 drinks in this thing. So that's nice. You also have center mounted cup holders, rear air vent controls, just a 3-zone climate it looks like right here. And then you have fans separate, and you can adjust where you want it to go. Pretty standard back seat. Alcantara roof, nice. All around, I mean, it feels like a nice premium car. It definitely feels like it's worth the money. The passenger seat is hilarious. I don't know what they were thinking here. Take a look at this. I can pull down for the passenger a footrest right there. Oh. I can then push up this situation here. But I cannot, I rode over here in the passenger seat because whenever I drive cars for the first time, I literally drive them for the first time with you. Look at how awkward I look sitting in here. To me, I feel like I'm like in a cradle. And it just, I don't know, didn't like it. Maybe in the back seat, sure, it's cool. But in the passenger seat, when you're like sitting next to your buddy driving and you're like in this weird position, I don't know. Not for me. We're gonna fold up that footrest. Big storage in here though. Look at all this. Awesome storage. Cup holders, wireless charging right here. We have our cool shifter that we had from the ET7. The battery swap station. You can swap it. Nomi's looking at us. Nomi, look the other way. She blinks. I don't know how I feel about that. I mentioned it in all of the NIO videos now, but because this is a Chinese car from a Chinese company, I feel, at least, like it's really tracking everything I do, which I'm not the most privacy conscious person, but even me, I'm like, I don't know if I want to like connect to this car's hotspot type situation. I don't know. I just get that vibe. Do you get that vibe, Alyssa?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the charging port right here. Opens a little bit Rivian style, actually. Shows you how charged we were. We pulled into this battery swap station with about 40% state of charge, and then we are leaving with 90% state of charge. Only took, again, about 5 minutes to 8 minutes to do the whole process. Really, really interesting. Just some final notes on the car. NIO has big plans for expansion in Europe, and most of them stem from the ET7, the ET5. I believe there's going to be an ET5 wagon. That might be the ultimate car. Can't wait for that. And all around, I think NIO has built a really solid car. You can tell it's very German influence from an engineering standpoint. They definitely built a good vehicle. The software needs some work. They have a lot of settings, a lot of features, a lot of options, but the fact that this car, an ES8, isn't on the same level of software as the new ET7 leaves me a little bit questioning. Tesla set the standard. If you're going to update something, update it to the entire fleet as much as possible. NIO didn't do that here. This car doesn't have pet mode like the ET7 has. It just seems like it's missing some things. And so I think they really need to get their software completely sorted, get all the cars on the same thing, all the fast processors in there, upgrade what you have to upgrade, and then you're good to go. But this can tow, do you know how much it can tow? I think it's like 4,000 pounds, something like that. It's a pretty good towing capacity. Anyway, it's cold and snowy out here. Let's jump in, go for our first drive of the NIO ES8. There's 2 different trims. There's the base and the signature edition. This one maxed out 7-seater. You can also get a 6-seater configuration, which would be quite nice. Alyssa, you're in the back. What do you think back there?
It's very comfortable, but it's very outdated.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we probably should have driven this first and then the ET7.
Yeah.
Because it feels like we're going a little bit back in time. It's like, I don't know how you could honestly go for this car after experiencing their new stuff. Just in terms of seat leather choices, you can tell this is lower volume, older school.
Yeah.
You know, like when a lot of new luxury automakers come to market, they use whatever material this is, and then they end up getting actually nice stuff. But we should put in the airport. So, hey Nomi, navigate to the Oslo airport. How do you activate her?
Hey Nomi.
Nomi's pissed off at us. I think we knocked her enough. I think Nomi's dumb, by the way. This whole thing moving around, it's really loud on its mount. So, heading to the airport, because you're heading back to the States right now, Alyssa.
Yep.
Great, so we'll get you there. We're sort of in a little bit of a rush. So what we should do is just go through the car settings really quick. Comfort, Eco, Sport, and then Custom, which I've already preloaded. Neutral gear, hill descent control, and rather than the ET7, which had the ride height increase, this one has ride height decrease for easy loading. So if you want to put your dog in the back or your grandparents or whatever it is, you know, you can just lower the ride height of the ES8. So big regen right off the bat. That's pretty good. But there is no one pedal driving, which I think is a bit of a shame. We also noticed the same thing in the ET7. Aston Martin Signet, by the way, one of the coolest cars ever. Can't believe that's there.
Navigate on Pilot is available on the road ahead.
Navigate on Pilot is available coming ahead, so that's very good. Similar to the ET7 that we drove, the drive mode affects acceleration. So I think it's just under 5 seconds 0 to 100 kph, so maybe 4.6 seconds to 60. Pretty fast car. And do you know what the range is on the 100 kilowatt hour one? It doesn't always translate so well.
400 kilometers something.
Yeah, 400 kilometers, so like 280 miles, I would think, in EPA.
Last winter 424, but quite low speed.
Right, because you did the range test on this for the NAF last winter.
I did.
And what was your experience driving it for hours on end?
It's good, comfortable seats, I think, and yes, some with the maturity is a bit old-fashioned, as you did say, but I think it was nice driving.
Yeah, my impression is NIO, like a lot of the Chinese brands, they're not focused so much on performance.
No.
They're focused more on comfort, cruising, everyday usability. And honestly, that's what most people are looking for when they buy a car. So I think it works pretty well. Since we're over here, I think we can put it on driver assistance by clicking this button.
Pilot has been activated.
Pilot has been activated. So I have it in the lane. We have this little circle around the car. I think I can adjust my follow distance from, wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 follow distance settings, more than most cars. Not as much as Tesla, they have 7. And yeah, all good here, very comfortable, pretty loud on the highway compared to ET7. The ET7 really is, that's the car. Does it do lane changes? Yes, it seems to. Very nice. We also know it does eye tracking to the driver, but I don't believe it's a hands-free system, right?
No.
Yeah. So just for safety, it will do eye tracking, give you warnings. It'll yell at you if you're tired or something, just like most Chinese cars do. If you guys remember when we were driving the iWays, that car would yell at you when you would yawn. It was crazy. Yeah, stay focused, because I just looked over at the screen. There you go. Really nice suspension tuning. Of course, we're on winter Nokian tires, which also help with the ride a little bit, but overall comfortable, competent. Like the battery swap system, that actually worked really well in our quick test there. The software is good, but it's a little bit slow and laggy compared to their new stuff, so we'll do another driving clip as we spend more time with it. But initial impression is built super solid, drivetrain's really good. Comfort is there, the noise performance not so much, but I just think it's time for a mid-cycle refresh. It says auto lane change not available, so we're going to automatically move over manually, and then
it can just take you to the right side, not out to the left.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It only does auto lane change to the right?
From my experience.
Oh well, that mine do now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's very interesting. So okay, let's drive it, spend a little bit more time with it, and we'll update you with some final thoughts on this very quick drive of the NIO ES8. Yeah, it has no problem going to the right, and it does it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Good lane change. And then to the left, we'll give it a second. Nope, not available to the left.
And it's more traffic in here, so
Yeah.
should be the opposite.
Makes no sense at all to me. Well, we just dropped Alyssa off. She's going on a cruise out of Florida, so lucky her. We're stuck in Oslo.
And snow.
It's snow. It's really started snowing on this drive. We've driven it about, I don't know, almost an hour up here, roughly to the airport now, about 40 minutes back into the city. Couple oddities I've noticed about the NIO ES8. The first is the pedestrian warning noise is really loud, quite noisy. Also, the rear air vents, quite loud as well.
Yeah.
so we can turn that off. So definitely, like from an NVH perspective, more to do here. From a ride quality and cruising standpoint though, really nice. I don't believe it has adaptive suspension damping. It might. It definitely has adaptive ride height control. It's on air suspension, and it's just so comfortable to cruise in. For example, we can put it in sport really quick, and it does lower the ride height. Maybe it does stiffen up, but it's definitely a little bit snowy. But even here, yeah, I mean, we're just getting a little bit of wheel spin. But very fast in sport mode, actually. 4.9.
Navigator pilot is ready for the road ahead.
Thank you for talking. So even if we go full throttle here, you can see sort of sliding all over the place. ABS feedback, pretty good in the pedal. It's really icy here. But maybe a bit too sharp of a throttle, a bit too light of a throttle pedal in my opinion. But good traction control, it feels like. It doesn't get too confused. I mean, even here, if I put us in the slush and floor it, you can see it goes a little bit sideways, but nothing uncontrollable. That's pretty good. Yeah, nice. So there you go. ES8 is, I would say, you can certainly have some fun with it. There's a snow mode as well. Maybe we should try this. Both driving stability and energy consumption will increase. Okay, so now the throttle pedal's really long until you go super deep into it. Yeah, but either way, lots of modes. I like that it tells you the kilowatt output and input pretty much in real time right here. I like the battery swap function. Navigate on Pilot, the NOP in this particular car worked great. I thought it was pretty competent. The lane changes to the right and not the left are a little bit weird, but it does a really good job of just cruising down the highway, covering distance, and definitely plenty of room with these 7 seats for the family. So big fan of ES8. My only recommendation to NIO would be, okay, maybe we're getting really close to the point we need a life cycle refresh with all the new stuff in there. And really, other than that, I would highly consider this car if I lived here in Norway, because mostly of the battery swap, actually. If I didn't have home charging for whatever reason, you just go there, boom, swap a new one in. I kind of like the idea of not owning the battery pack, because then it's kind of like a leased car. You don't have to worry about it. You can treat it however you want. Drain it, full charge it, DC charge it, do whatever you want. It's not your battery. That's kind of nice. So, Jan, your final thoughts on the car?
After driving it again, I see the software is much better now than a year ago when I was driving it last time.
So improvements then?
Improvements, really. And but it's still the beeping and so on. The comfort is really a comfortable car. I've been sitting in it a whole day a year back, and there's no problem at all traveling long distances in it. And it's spacey and good. And you feel that it's a bit heavy and lies very comfortable on the road. I think not a race car at all, but a comfortable car here.
Yeah, I would say probably not as heavy feeling as e-tron, but it definitely is right up there. Yeah. It you know, floats along, wafts along, great light steering. I wish it had a little bit more regen off the accelerator pedal, instead, because I have it in the highest setting right now, instead of blending on the brake pedal. I think the brake pedal could use work, but for a cruising car, I don't think that matters so much, all of these little things. So overall, very impressed with the ES8, considering it's an older product. This one, I think I mentioned it was a 2020 at the beginning of the video. This one's a 2022, yeah. But the specs are pretty much unchanged.
It's from 2018, I think.
Yeah, 18, 19, something like that is when it launched. So there you go, NIO ES8 in Norway, big fan. This whole trip, my biggest takeaway is I'm a NIO fan. I really like the products, I like the lifestyle, I like the things that the company is doing to engage their fans. It's pretty impressive from my book, so I really hope they come to America. I think it would be a big hit. I think it would really pull a lot of Tesla owners away and get them into this more ecosystem lifestyle. Tesla does it a little bit. They do referral programs sometimes, but they're not so welcoming with their fan base. They're not so welcoming with their owner base, where NIO is, if you're a NIO fan, they treat you so well. It just seems like a more welcoming approach from my perspective. So, and the cars are really nice. And so there you have it, NIO ES8. Thanks for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. If you live in a market where this car is sold, highly recommend checking it out. Really have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.